All right, today we're doing something a little different. We're going to put on our detective hats. Our case, a real-life mystery, the disappearing forests. We're diving deep into illegal logging, and I'm going to show you how you can follow a trail of clues that, believe it or not, are often hidden in plain sight. So, let's get this investigation started. I mean, really think about that question for a second. Where does a forest go when it disappears? One day it's there, this incredible, living ecosystem, and the next, it's just gone. The wood gets trucked away, sure, but how much of it just vanishes from the official record like a ghost? Well, that's the exact mystery we're going to try and solve. And our investigation takes us to Meghalaya in India. Because here, the answer isn't buried deep in some remote jungle. Nope, the clues are actually sitting right there in government documents, in spreadsheets, in public data. They're hiding in plain sight. You just have to know how to look for them, and that's exactly what we're going to learn how to do. Okay, so first things first for any good detective. Before you start looking for clues, you have to understand the scene of the crime. So let's get the lay of the land and understand the rules of the forest in this pretty unique place. Now, this case gets tricky right away because in Meghalaya, a lot of the forest isn't owned by the government. It's managed by local communities or private individuals, thanks to a special part of the Indian Constitution. But here's the key. There's one big, overarching rule from the Supreme Court. You can only cut down trees if you have an officially approved management plan. If there's no plan, then any log coming out of that forest is immediately suspicious. And that, right there, that's our first major clue. So now that we know the rules of the game, it's time to find our central piece of evidence. This is the smoking gun of the whole investigation. It's something called the documentation gap. So, what on earth is a documentation gap? Well, it's actually pretty simple. Think of it like this. On one side, you have the best guess for how much wood was actually cut down and taken from the forests. And on the other side, you have what's on paper, the official permits, the taxes paid, all the documented stuff. The space between those two numbers, that gap, that's our best estimate for how much logging is happening illegally. It's the missing timber. And boom, here's what that looks like. It tells the whole story, doesn't it? That first bar is all the timber we think was removed. The second, much smaller bar, is what was officially recorded. And that giant space between them, that's our mystery. That's a whole lot of wood that officially just vanished into thin air. That's what we're hunting for. All right, enough theory. Now for the practical part. This is where you, the citizen detective, actually start getting your hands dirty. We know what we're looking for, so how do we go out and gather the evidence to build our case? Your number one tool, your absolute secret weapon, is the Right to Information Act, or RTI. Seriously, think of this thing as your official detective's badge. It's a law that gives you the power to go to government agencies and say, "Show me the files." It lets you demand the documents, the numbers, the hard facts you need to crack the case. It's how you get inside the system. So what are you asking for with your newfound power? Here's your 4-part evidence checklist. First, transit passes. They're like a passport for wood. Second, records from depots and sawmills showing what was taxed. Third, and this is crucial, those approved management plans we talked about. And finally, records of what the authorities have already seized. You get these 4 sets of documents, and you've got the backbone of your entire investigation. Okay, you've filed your RTIs, and the documents are starting to roll in. Now, the real work begins. See, it's not enough just to have the files. You have to connect the dots, cross-examine everything, and hunt for the story hidden between the lines. It's time to follow the paper trail. Now, here's a pro tip. Never, ever just take the official data at face value. The key to building a rock-solid case is to cross-reference it with other, independent information. For example, does the official amount of logged timber match what satellite images are showing in terms of forest loss? Are new logging roads suddenly appearing in supposedly protected areas? This is how you find the cracks in the official story. And to help you out, here's a quick analyst checklist. First, make sure all your numbers use the same units. You gotta compare apples to apples. Second, look for trends. Is that documentation gap getting bigger over the years? That's a huge red flag. And finally, verification. Check where the wood is coming from. If you find a transit pass saying the timber came from a protected national park, well, bingo, you've just hit the jackpot. But just when you think you've got it all figured out, just when you're about to close the case, there's one last twist. And trust me, it's a big one that every good detective needs to see coming. Picture it. You've tracked a shipment of timber. The dealer shows you an official transit pass. All the stamps are there, the signatures look right, the numbers match. It seems totally legit. So, case closed, right? We can all go home? Not so fast. And this right here is the question that turns the whole investigation on its head. So the pass is real. But what if the forest it came from had no legal plan to cut trees in the first place? What does that piece of paper really prove? Is it evidence that the wood is legal? Or is it evidence of a broken system? A system that actually uses official-looking paperwork to make illegal wood look perfectly legal? That changes everything. So there you have it, the detective's playbook, the tools, the methods, and the crucial, mind-bending questions you need to ask. We've seen that the clues to some of the biggest environmental crimes are right there, hiding in public records, just waiting for a citizen detective to piece them all together. So now, the tools are in your hands. The only question left is, what will you uncover?